Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen.
They came from all over Europe and beyond. In early July 2010, 400 people congregated in the Flemish medieval city of Ghent for the first ever European Conference on Youth Work History and Youth Policy and Youth Workers Convention. Both events were organized by the Belgian presidency of the Council of the European Union in cooperation with the Council of Europe and the European Commission.
I expect that there will be a lot of sharing of experiences and information.
Express my views and opinions.
Good discussions and good exchange of experiences on a European level.
The most significant thing is the fact that these very different people came together at such a conference. It couldn't have happened 10 years ago. People wouldn't have seen its relevance.
There are researchers, policymakers, youth workers. They have only one goal in mind: empowering young people through youth work. But what exactly is youth work? Can it be easily defined?
That's a difficult question.
Well, it's definitely something difficult to define.
According to the European Union, youth work is a broad term covering a large scope of activities of a social, cultural, educational, or political nature, both by, with, and for young people. Youth work belongs to the area of out-of-school education, as well as specific leisure time activities managed by professional or voluntary youth workers and youth leaders, and is based on non-formal learning processes and on voluntary participation. Not yet clear? Let's follow these bikers to some youth projects in Ghent.
Here at the headquarters of the REC Radio Centrum, and it's a knowledge center around for youngsters who are involved and interested in radio. A lot of youngsters over here are from backgrounds that usually do not use media. Most of them you will never see on national or regional media because they didn't go to college, or they come from poor backgrounds, or they might be from ethnic diverse minorities.
The boat once was a project for young people who were in a system of formal education but in a working project, and they renovated the boat. So now this is an event boat, in fact. This winter we will renovate them again, and we will make a real youth club of it, and especially for young people, disadvantaged young people.
To understand modern-day youth work, it is important to know where it came from.
The origins of youth work as we know today is in the period during and after the Industrial Revolution.
It was clear that you had family, school and leisure time. And from then on, when you had a clear third educational milieu, leisure time, we started to talk about youth work and we started to look for methods and theories.
Over time, youth was not just seen as a period between childhood and adulthood. It became a social category in society with its own codes, values, demands, and issues.
Youth work provides that space for responsibility, development, citizenship, volunteering, making a contribution, young people learning how to make the best out of their own circumstances.
Youth work exists in many different forms. From scouting to youth projects to recreational centers, it offers a different approach for the emancipation of younger generations. An approach based on informal learning, providing young people with opportunities, access to culture, sports, leisure, and last but not least, fun. The right to play and participate in cultural life is recognized in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Youth work is also a powerful tool to fight against unemployment, which is now affecting 1 young European out of 5. But just like other fields, it is animated by intense debates that reflect different opinions on politics, culture, and society. This variety has been both a challenge and a gift for youth workers.
The very diversity of youth work is necessary to keep attention in it, to keep it advancing, to keep it going, keep it moving.
One example is the recurrent debate between voluntarism and professionalism in youth work.
Some people who do youth work believe that if they move too far in the direction of being professionalized, they will become distant from the people whose interests they are meant to be serving. The challenge, therefore, I believe, is to professionalize, to raise standards, to raise quality in a way that does not diminish or lessen the contact with and the empathy with the people whose interests youth work serves.
Another example concerns the social inclusion of young people in an environment that can be, at times, socially excluding.
There are young people and adults also who have problems in their lives. But these problems are not always the products of their personal circumstances. These are also the products of racism, sexism, other structural forces.
They must find ways and means of engaging people who are coming from different backgrounds so that the structures that discriminate these people or disadvantage them or socially exclude them are kind of like tackled and dismantled.
So it's our obligation as youth workers who are defenders of young people to intervene in these kinds of systems also at these cultural and structural and political levels.
Youth work has come a long way and is now facing the challenges of the 21st century. It is therefore important for those active in this field to set directions for the future.
We are convinced of the importance of youth policy, but by doing that, the main actor, the main pillar is youth work for us. And that we try to bring it on the agenda for more than 10 years.
We need a better social and political recognition of youth work in our societies by policymakers, but also in general.
Young people need youth work, and youth work needs political investment, financial investment.
The impact of youth work on society has often been underestimated, marginalized, and considered irrelevant. The European Union has been striving to change this. One of its programs, Youth in Action, supports every year some 7,500 projects involving over 130,000 young people and youth workers across Europe.
We are conscious of the fact that we can do more for young people by offering them real non-formal learning opportunities.
The social value and economic value of youth work comes to be recognized more and more visibly, and that's why it arouses more and more interest among policymakers.
In November 2009, a new EU youth strategy was endorsed in a Council resolution by the 27 youth ministers of the European Union.
Pour la première fois dans un document officiel, la Commission européenne, en 2009, a mentionné le youth work, a mentionné le travail dans le secteur de la jeunesse comme contribuant au bien-être des jeunes.
We have a new EU youth strategy which cites youth work as an important instrument to implementing youth policy in 8 areas. And they're as diverse as employment, entrepreneurship, health, social inclusion, youth in the world, and so on.
An official declaration has been addressed to European institutions, the youth ministers of the countries belonging to the European Union and the Council of Europe, national, regional, and local policymakers, and all other people active in youth work. It reflects the ideas and thoughts that were shared by people of various countries, backgrounds, and opinions.
It is with gratitude that I can receive this declaration as President of the EU Council on Education and Youth. It is now up to us to turn these recommendations into commitments.
Recognition, cross-sectoral cooperation, exposure, training, mobility, sustainable support, and funding are just some of the demands expressed in the declaration.
Youth work for me is my life.
It's very holistic in terms of a young person's life.
Doing projects with people, working with people, meeting people, talking, playing, and that's what you learn through youth work.
Feeling that your own life is meaningful because you're making that impact upon somebody else's.
I think youth is the future of all mankind.
You have to take the momentum from a thing like this. I hope they do.